Protesters ignore threats of severe punishment from Iran's leaders and warnings from rights groups about undocumented killings as they poured out onto the streets of cities across the country late Friday. The fresh protests came as President Donald Trump again warned the Islamic regime that it would intervene if demonstrators were killed. "I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting because we'll start shooting too," he said at a meeting with oil executives. This reaction video is about that meeting that Trump had with the oil executives on Friday. Let's get into it.
Make that deal, and you'll have total safety, total security. One of the reasons you couldn't go in is you had no guarantees, you had no security, but now you have total security. It's a whole different Venezuela, and Venezuela is going to be very successful. And the people of the United States are going to be big beneficiaries because we're going to be extracting, numbers of, in terms of oil, like, few people have ever seen, actually. So you're dealing with us directly. You're not dealing with Venezuela at all. We don't want you to deal with Venezuela.
So I have a couple of things I wanted to say about this part of the video, although it's at the beginning. So Trump is assuring the oil executives that there's going to be security, of course. For those of you who are new to this channel or new to the international geopolitics between Venezuela and the United States, twice has the United States been told to leave, or United States oil companies have been told to leave Venezuela when the previous president was there, not Maduro, but Hugo Chavez, who nationalized the oil production, oil transportation, and oil drilling in Venezuela. U.S. oil companies had to leave the country, I think with the exception of Chevron. So he's saying that he's assuring the oil executives that if they put their investment in Venezuela, he's going to assure their security of their investments. But I don't think he alone can do that. He's there for a limited period of time. He's going to leave. He doesn't know whether the Democrats are going to take over or a Republican Party is going to take over. Anything can happen in the uncertain world of geopolitics. So he can't say that. He's also saying that they will deal directly with the US and not with Venezuela. I don't think that's right. This is a sovereign country. So are the oil executives meant to sign an agreement with the United States government rather than signing an agreement with the Venezuelan government? Is the oil for the US or the oil for Venezuela? I think the oil is for Venezuela. So this thing that Trump just said doesn't hold water to me. But let's keep watching.
Let me thank Vice President J.D. Vance, who's doing a fantastic job. American companies will have the opportunity to rebuild Venezuela's rotting energy infrastructure and eventually increase oil production to levels never, ever seen before. When you add Venezuela and the United States together, we have 55% of the oil in the world. The United States is number one. We have them drilling. Drill, baby, drill was my campaign. And Doug and Chris, I think we're setting records on drilling right now and taking oil without Venezuela. That's how we're getting the oil prices down. The plan is for them to spend, meaning our giant oil companies will be spending at least $100 billion of their money, not the government's money. They don't need government money. But they need government protection and need government security that when they spend all this money, it's going to be there so they get their money back and make a very nice return. The plan is for them to spend at least $100 billion to rebuild the capacity and the infrastructure necessary.
So the capacity and the infrastructure that he's talking about that they need to rebuild, the USA, they caused that. They caused that by putting sanctions on Venezuela. Those sanctions that they gave to Venezuela made it impossible for Venezuela to maintain and improve on their infrastructure. So you caused the problem by putting sanctions there, and then you're now saying the same US through the oil companies is going to come back and fix the same infrastructure that went moribund as a result of your sanctions. It doesn't make sense.
Venezuela has also agreed that the United States will immediately begin refining and selling up to 50.
It's interesting, the body language between Harold what's this guy's name? Richard and Lane. I think these are the heads of various oil companies, and they're looking at him with I don't know what look this is, but almost like, can we trust this man? Can we trust this man? What this man is saying, can he cash these checks that he's writing with his mouth? Because anything I said can happen in international geopolitics.
50 million.
With respect to Venezuela in particular, we have a very long history in Venezuela. In fact, we first got into Venezuela back in 1940s. We've had our assets seized there twice. And so you can imagine to re-enter a third time would require some pretty significant changes from what we've historically seen here.
And that is what I was saying earlier. They have had their assets seized twice. It's not today. A lot has happened from the 1940s, and the third time they want to go back in. What is the assurance? How can Trump assure that their investments will be protected legally? That's irrespective of Trump being there. If another president was to be there, if it was a Democratic president that was to be there, will their investment stand? $100 billion is not small money by any stretch of any imagination.
What is currently the state. If we look at the legal and commercial constructs and frameworks in place today in Venezuela, today it's uninvestable. And so significant changes have to be made to those commercial frameworks, the legal system. There has to be durable investment protections, and there has to be a change to the hydrocarbon laws in the country. We're confident that with this administration and President Trump working hand in hand with the Venezuelan government, that those changes can be put in place. And with respect to the Venezuelan government, that perspective we don't have the view on. We haven't talked to the Venezuelan government, and obviously we have yet to assess the people's perspective with respect to ExxonMobil entering the country.
Yeah, so he's speaking on behalf of ExxonMobil, and he's basically negated, if you listen to this man carefully, he's basically negated what Trump said. Trump is saying they don't have to go through Venezuela. Come to me, come to me, come to me directly. No, that's not how business works. They have to also hear from the Venezuelans' mouth. They also have to hear from the interim president and the people on ground, the people in the oil sector there and the people in the political sector. It's not just going to be Trump. They can't have an agreement with Trump. They have to have an agreement with the Venezuelan people. That's how agreements work, because Trump can leave there tomorrow. And then they don't want a situation where they're saying, oh, but Trump said, no, but this is not Trump. Trump is not a Venezuelan. It's not a Venezuelan citizen. It's not the Venezuelan president. Yes, he's done something unprecedented by going in the country and indirectly running the country's crude oil. But that doesn't mean a private entity like ExxonMobil will just jump in. They have the precedence of what happened in the past. They don't want to be burnt the third time. It's going to be catastrophic.
Country.
I have an idea what I want, what I think we should have. We have to get them to invest, and then we have to get their money back as quickly as we can, and then we can divvy it all up between Venezuela, the United States, and them. I think it's simple. I think the formula is simple. We start with a brand new plate, and it's going to be a tremendous success. I think it's going to be probably like few other things could ever be, you know.
How does the administration plan to distribute the money from the Venezuela oil sales? Is it, obviously you say it's going to go into these controlled accounts. Yeah. Would it go back to Venezuela in a direct payment? Is it going through these goods? How do you plan to do that?
Well, we want to make sure that Venezuela can survive. You know, Venezuela needs money, and we're going to make sure that they get money, and we're going to get money, and the oil companies are going to make something for the work they do, and they're going to get back their money. We're devising a formula, but it won't be so much of a formula. It's going to be what they need. We have to get them to invest, and then we have to get their money back as quickly as we can, and then we can divvy it all up between Venezuela, the United States, and them.
Conversations with these oil executives today, did you provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? Yeah. And separately, Mr. President,
they will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President,
I wonder if those guarantees he's talking about are legal guarantees, because if you hear what the ExxonMobil representative said, he's talking about legal guarantees. It's not just about the president saying it. Is this going to be backed in law? Because all it takes is a new Venezuelan president and a new American president. This thing going to International Court of Justice or the ICC, and they can reverse everything that Trump is saying today. So they have to tread carefully. I hope that all companies are going to get their legal representatives in this one and ensure that their investments are protected. If not, it's going to be the third time that they're going to lose money.
I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela.
They will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see Venezuela, now led by Delcy Rodriguez, as an ally of the U.S.? Is that the way that you view that country
right now? They seem to be an ally, and I think it'll continue to be an ally. And we don't want to have Russia there. We don't want to have China there. And by the way, we don't want Russia or China going to Greenland, which if we don't take Greenland, you're going to have Russia or China as your next door neighbor. That's not going to happen.
Okay, so he's deviated away, he's moved away, he's segued away. We're talking about Venezuela in this video, but Trump has taken it to Greenland. Of course, if you have been following the events, the world events, Trump has been trying to buy or seize Greenland from Denmark. And he's now saying that the reason why he wants to take it is because he doesn't want China or Russia to get to Greenland. I don't know whether Russia or China has come out publicly to say they want to take Greenland, but he's saying that's the reason why he wants to take it, because he doesn't want his competitors to take Greenland. Crazy.
You just said that these companies would have security guarantees if they go in on the ground in Venezuela.
They will have.
And what is your plan there actually for these companies and those Americans who are going to be on the ground working for these companies?
Well, there are going to be Americans. I assume they're going to be using a lot of Americans, but they're going to be using a lot of people from Venezuela and other places, I would imagine. But I would think that mostly they'll be using Venezuelan workers. They have a lot of great workers. They have a very high unemployment rate, and they have workers that are very familiar with taking oil out of the ground. Yeah.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there? When is the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts.
Yeah, hitting them very hard where it hurts. That could be another military invasion without putting boots on the ground. Maybe drone attacks. Maybe what happened in Nigeria, where they're firing from Tomahawk missiles from a ship somewhere off the coast. It could be that, but he's threatening Iran here that if they don't stop shooting the protesters, that he will attack Iran, but not necessarily boots on ground. Okay, let's see how that pans out.
So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down, but this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We'll watch.
So I'm agreeing with him with this one in terms of, yes, you should not be shooting at your own protesters. You should not be shooting at your own people. People should be allowed to protest peacefully, by the way. But, shooting your people that are protesting is not something that I will ever support. It's not right.
We're watching it very closely.
How do you provide total security guarantees to these companies without putting U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, we're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group. And they're going to also bring over some security with them. These are not babies. These are people that drill oil in some pretty rough places. I could say a couple of those places make Venezuela look like a picnic. These people around the table, these are tough people. They go into areas that you wouldn't want to go. They go into areas that if they invited me, I'd say, no, thanks. I'll see you back in Palm Beach. And I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting because we'll start shooting too. I will be meeting with various representatives of Venezuela, probably pretty soon. We haven't set that up. But the relationship that we have with the people that are currently running Venezuela is very good. We also have a young lady that received the Nobel Peace Prize. She's going to come in and pay her regards to our country, really, to me. But, you know, I'm a representative of the country, nothing else. And she's coming in sometime next week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. And we'll see how that is. But no, we're dealing with the people from Venezuela. We're dealing with them very well. I think they've been very smart in the way they've dealt with us, frankly, because that whole place could have been obliterated with one more strike, and we didn't want to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you would have expected, you know, Trump to meet with the Venezuelans first before having this meeting with the oil companies and getting those security agreements sorted. But obviously, this thing just happened, and you know, the rush for him to be meeting with the oil companies and telling them to move straight in to go and get the resources is crazy without speaking to the Venezuelan people first and tidying it. It's like he's putting the cart before the wheel. But anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. I'm going to put the full video down in the description section. Please check out the video, and you know, I'll see you in the next one. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment and give me a thumbs up, as the algorithm will help it to recommend my video to more people. Thank you for staying to the end. See you in the next one.